What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Dribble, the show where we take a closer look into the Boston Celtics, the rest of the NBA, and whatever else might come up. My name is Luke Irwin, and I am your host. Today's show, we're going to have a fun one, as always. It's always a fun one here on The Dribble. It was another light week for the Celtics, a weird week with the NBA's in-season tournament wrapping up. The Celtics had two games, split those games, obviously out in the first round in the in-season tournament. So we're going to talk about the Celtics getting bounced early, home sweet home, and the NBA has a technical difficulty. And then when you hear this sound, that means it's time to stop talking about the Celtics. Enough about the Celtics. Let's talk about the rest of the NBA. In this episode, yes, we are revisiting Hope's Hotel after a week break from last week. Major wager is getting tight. Plus, as always, we look ahead to the games for the coming week in the NBA, along with the Celtics slate of games for the following week. So yeah, so much to get into. And I suggest we do, because this is The Dribble. Okay, so the Celtics' first game was an in-season tournament game. Pacers 122, Celtics 112. That is a 10-point game if you'd believe it, because if you watch the game up until about 3 minutes left in the game, it was tied. 2 minutes left in the game, it was tied. But somehow, down the stretch, the Pacers absolutely pulled away. This was an exciting game. This game was a finals or like late playoff game atmosphere. The Pacers fans were ready. The Pacers players came out and they were playing so hard. The Pacers ranked 28th in defense before this game, and they absolutely put a stronghold on the Celtics offense. It was great to see. The Pacers are young, they're hungry, and half of playing defense, it's not as much about ability and skill, it's about want. How much do you want to play defense? Because defense is all about pace, aggression. They're all NBA players. They all know how to defend. So it's really less about skill and it's more about effort that you put in. And wow, the Pacers put in an incredible amount of effort in this game. This was such a fun game. Great way to start off the round. Of course, for my major wager and for my fandom of the Celtics, it did not end how I wanted it to, but all credit to the Pacers. This was an incredible game, and down the stretch, they played good defense, but really it was about their shot making. It was just a great game. It really was. The crowd was crazy. The bench for the Pacers were they were kind of rejuvenated by the crowd, and the crowd back to them. It's one of those games where the energy, you can feel it probably surrounding the stadium. So kudos to the NBA in-season tournament, because this was just round one game, and it was awesome. It was so exciting. Celtics played well in this game. Pacers just could not lose this game. This was their mission to win this game. This was their Super Bowl, so to speak. This was their finals, Game 7. They were so up for it. They were just in it from the start. Full court press from the start. TJ McConnell, Aaron Nesmith, these guys were just getting after it the entire game. And again, you love to see that competition, especially at this point in the season. But yeah, the Pacers also shot the ball incredibly well. Their offense is obviously super high efficiency. They have the number one pace in the NBA as far as their offense. They play at a very high pace. In this game, they shot 47.5% from three. They made 19 threes. The Celtics only shot 29% from three. So that disparity is basically in an NBA game always going to result in a loss for the 29% shooting team. But the Celtics did do one thing on the stat sheet better than them, which, again, I want to keep mark of this for the entire year. We out-rebounded the Pacers. The Pacers aren't the biggest team. Miles Turner's really their only center, but we out-rebounded them 56-41. It's 15 possession difference. And you're probably thinking, 15 possessions, the skill we have, how did we not pull away? That's huge. Out-rebounding a team by 15 is huge. And offensively, we out-rebounded them 13-7. So we were getting second chance points. So Luke, how did the Celtics lose? Well, first, like I said, the Pacers shot 47.5% from three, and especially down the stretch, they made most of their threes, and they just had an answer for everything. But the real story of the game, especially late, were the turnovers. The Boston Celtics had 18 turnovers, and the Pacers only had 6. 18, 6. They had 1/3 of the amount of turnovers we had. That's really where we lost the game. And they capitalized. They had a lot of points off of our turnovers. But that's the story. Pacers were forcing these. Like I said early, it's about effort, and they were putting in the effort. We were walking the ball up. They were running the ball up. we'd get double teamed and we'd lazily pass it out for a turnover, and they were pushing double teams early. They were making switches early. They were fighting over screens. Overall, just their effort in this game was really impressive, and especially, like I said, a 28th ranked defense, like a 28th ranked like defensive rating team, to come out and play this well against a high-powered offensive team was great. And no Porzingis, which we'll get into that in a little bit. I think our team's chemistry and our team's overall makeup is a lot different with Porzingis in there. In this game, that really showed. Porzingis stretches the floor, opens up the floor for Tatum and Brown. Tatum and Brown were getting into the middle, and it just was too crowded. I mean, because Luke Cornett is a good player. Don't get me wrong. He doesn't deserve the hate that Luke Cornett is getting on Instagram. Nobody does, but the Celtics fans are brutal, and they want to see him gone. They want to see him shipped to a different country. But he's a great player. I love Luke Cornett. He gets up. He had a monster alley-oop in this game. But overall, for modern NBA and how the Celtics want to play, he's not the kind of center we need. We need a center that can shoot threes. I don't think I've ever seen him attempt a three, but he is he's an old school center, and with the way we want to play and the pieces that we have, he's just not the answer. So Porzingis, we need him back, and I do think we need to trade for another big that can shoot threes, because right now it's just him and Al Horford. Without Porzingis in, which it looks like maybe he'll be in and out for the whole season, it's just going to be hard to keep up with that. In this game, Tatum showed up. Obviously, playoff Tatum. He plays well in big games. 32 points, 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He played great, and he shot 50% from the floor, so he's shooting efficiently, and I like Tatum's game. He's been getting other people involved early and then kind of finding himself, and he's able to just score 11 in a row off the bat. Sam Hauser also put in a great effort, as he always does. 5 for 7 from three-point range for 15 points in this game, so he was a good spark off the bench. So the Celtics had some good performances. Again, just hats off to the Pacers, hitting shots down the stretch. They really were just electric. Like the last 3 minutes of that game, it was back and forth. Dunk by Brown, 3 by the Pacers, Aaron Nesmith in the middle, Tyrese Halliburton hitting a huge 4-point play where the shot clock is dwindling down. We have a lead, or maybe it's tied. And of course, Tyrese Halliburton tosses up a prayer of a three, gets fouled, hits the three, makes the 4-point play. And from there on, it was a waterfall that we could not stop. Again, I have to give props to the Pacers. Am I mad we lost? Yeah. But I'm happy for the Pacers. They played really well, and they made it all the way to the final. So, I mean, congratulations, Indiana. It's a great basketball town, so it's really good to see. I'm upset that the Celtics lost, but as a fan of basketball, this game was incredible. The next game in the Celtics week was against the Knicks. The Knicks 123, the Celtics 133. Won this game. The Knicks, just not much to say. The Knicks are kind of reeling. RJ Barrett is not a good second option. I'm not saying that Julius Randle's a great first option, but he's been playing better over the last couple of weeks. But RJ Barrett is certainly not a second option. He's just not. But the Celtics are 10-0 at home. Home, sweet home. 10-0. Best record in the league for any home or away. 10-0 at home, which is really great to see, because obviously it's good when the home energy is good in Boston. That means the leprechaun is somewhere in the building liking this team, giving them an extra boost. But with a 10-0 record at home, and we're 16-5 overall, that means we are 6-5 away. So that kind of needs to be fixed, because a championship team in the NBA kind of has to be a road warrior. You have to be able to win on the road in this league. You just have to. We're going to have a big game 6 on the road. We know Tatum might show up for that, or always has shown up, but we want to see resilience on the road. 6-5 for this good of a team is just not going to cut it. We need to see how that develops, because at the end of the year, we're going to need to be able to win big games on the road. And of course, the Pacers game was in Indiana, and we saw what happened there. But yeah, the Knicks game was uneventful. Not much to say there. The only thing that I do want to note about this game was JB's technical foul. The refs are really losing their grip on the game here. They're trying to stop any emotional flow from the game, and a lot of it's from star players. Now, yeah, star players can be kind of divas, and they can, lash out and talk too much and require, and expect maybe a call to go their way. But the tees that they're throwing out, the technicals that they're throwing out, are really weak. They're hanging on the rim for 2 seconds to protect themselves. They're, talking to the refs a little bit too much, but not saying much. JB, I'll pull it up here. Sorry to people who are just listening, but I'll, go through it while I play it. But JB basically just says, he points down to the other side of the court, and he says, "That's the same play." That's all he says, and he gets a T. All he says, that's a normal conversation with the ref. He's saying, "That's the same play that happened down there. You're calling me for a foul. It's the same play down there." And he gets a technical, and of course he's mad, and he feels like maybe it's a personal vendetta or something like that, and because he didn't say much. He didn't say much to merit a technical. And then he goes back to the bench, and yeah, he should shut up, right? JB should just shut up, sit on the bench. It's okay. Like, cool down, get back in the game, to focus on winning this game against the Knicks. It was a close game at that point. And on the bench, he keeps talking, but he doesn't say much. You can tell he's kind of talking to himself, talking to the ref, but it's not much, and there's nothing that seems over the top. And they throw him out of the game. They throw him out. And it's just ridiculous. He's one of the star players in this game. He's one of the top 3 players in this game. Fans pay a lot of money to come see him. It's down the stretch, fourth quarter. We want to see the players, the stars, play the game and finish it out. And the refs eject him. And of course, we talked about this last week with the refs ejecting Jason Tatum too, for nothing, for walking towards a ref and talking to him. Jason Tatum is a superstar in this league. There's no reason for you to eject a player for walking towards you and trying to talk to you about a foul call. That's normal in the NBA. And basketball is a very emotional game. It's a passionate game. It's all about emotion. And I don't know if the refs or the NBA's goal is to have some robotic, just pass it. Oh, jump shot. Very good. Foul. It's okay. I'm a robot. Hello, basketball is my favorite sport, and I love the way they dribble up and down the court. Like, that's just not what basketball is. And if you want to institute this, like, no resting rule that the NBA has instituted this year, where star players can't rest or they get fined, or, like, you can't rest to start more than one, all-star player at a time, then why are you kicking them out of the games? If you want to require them play so that the fans get to see them play, why are you kicking them out so easily? I get it, 2 technicals and you're out, but I mean, have some discretion on the second technical. It's just kind of, it's soft. People already think the NBA is soft. It's soft. I don't like it. It's just weak. Let's go ahead and stop that, right? Let's stop that. But speaking of technical fouls, Kristaps Porzingis, let's go ahead and pull up the Porzy Tech meter. You can see that Kristaps Porzingis is at 8 technical fouls. That leads the NBA right now. 8 is halfway to the 16 mark. Of course, for those of you who don't know, the 16 mark, if a player gets to 16 technical fouls, they are suspended for every 2 technical fouls after that. So once you hit the 16 technical mark, 2 more technical fouls, you're suspended for a game. 2 more technical fouls, you're suspended for another game. That usually lines up around playoff time. So Porzingis, already halfway there. We're only 21 games into the season. So, he's climbing the ladder. And he's been hurt for most of these past couple of weeks, but he still managed to get 2 more techs somehow since we've last checked the Porzy meter. So that's the Porzy Tech meter. 8 technical fouls, 8 to go until he's on the hot seat. So please don't let that happen. And also the Celtics, quick congratulations to our man, our beloved Jason Tatum won the Eastern Conference Player of the Month for the month of November. Congratulations, Jason Tatum, 27.7 points, 8.8 rebounds, and 4.1 assists, and of course, leading the best team in the league with the best record in the league. So they were 14-4 in the November month, so that got him the nod. Could it have been Joel Embiid? Yeah, but it wasn't. So trust the process or whatever, Philly. All right, you know what that means? That means it is time to shut up about the Celtics, and it's time to move on to the rest of the NBA. So much to talk about with the NBA. Obviously, the in-season tournament has been wrapped up. We'll talk about that in Major Wager when Tim and I go over our in-season tournament picks, how everything fell apart. But first, it is time to revisit the Hopes Hotel. Yes, last week we did not do a Hopes Hotel. I felt like everybody was in their rooms that they should have been in. But this week, we got some switches. We got people moving around, people moving to suites that used to be in the lobby or standard room. I don't know. People used to be in the parking lot. We'll see. Let's talk about it. For those of you who do not know, Hopes Hotel is my tier system for the NBA where I rank teams and place them in the hotel based on their title hopes, hence the name Hopes Hotel. Everything from the parking lot, no hope, all the way to the penthouse suites, high hopes, right? So let's get started. Let's go ahead and bring up the parking lot teams. No surprises, no changes. These are the parking lot teams. We have the Detroit Pistons, worst team in the league. They are currently 2-20. Washington Wizards, Chicago Bulls, Utah Jazz, Portland Trailblazers, Charlotte Hornets, Toronto Raptors, Memphis Grizzlies, and the San Antonio Spurs. The Spurs and the Pistons are awful. The Spurs have 3 wins, and the Pistons have 2 wins. The Pistons currently are 2-20. They are still on the bus stop. The only difference here, they still have their cigarette, they still have their wine. The only difference here is that I gave them a little beanie because it's getting cold. And it does not look like they're going to find shelter in the Hopes Hotel anytime soon. So I might as well fit them with a little beanie, keep their little head warm. But one of these days, this bus is going to just drive by, pick them up, and take them far away from the Hopes Hotel, because at some point, they shouldn't even be mentioned in the Hopes Hotel. So they're at the bus station waiting for that to happen. But they do have a beanie. And it's a nice little beanie, too. So they are styling. Overall, these teams are abysmal, and until the Grizzlies get Ja back, that's the only team in here that I really see making their way to the lobby if Ja comes back and has a huge impact. But other than that, these teams are set in stone right now. We will see how Ja impacts winning in Memphis, and also Marcus Smart. He's been out for a while too. So once Marcus Smart comes back and Ja, maybe they'll find themselves in the lobby. Just maybe. So let's go ahead and move to said lobby. Boom. We have the Warriors, the Rockets, the Nets, the Pelicans, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Heat, the Kings, and the Atlanta Hawks. The only change here is the Miami Heat. Yeah, they have fallen from grace. They had a standard room 2 weeks ago. The Heat will never really leave the hotel, in my eyes. You know, they could lose 13 straight games, but as long as they have Bam and Jimmy, I have PTSD from all of the playoffs. They're probably never going to leave the hotel. Right now, they're down to the lobby. That's just because they've lost 5 of their last 7 games, so not a great month for them, not a great showing. They're just not in a good groove right now, winning. They're also just not in a great groove right now, losing some games that they probably shouldn't have. So for that, they've been kicked out. Again, still scary. If you told me they were in the Eastern Conference Finals or even the finals this year, I would not scoff at it. I'd go, yeah, probably. Yeah, I bet they are. Okay, because that's the Heat. That's what they do. Playoff Jimmy is a very real thing. We've learned too many times. And so these are the lobby teams. Everybody here deserves it. Kind of run-of-the-mill teams. Exciting. Could win against any team in the NBA any given night. But when it comes to a title hope, they're in the lobby because there are teams in the standard rooms that we did not think would be in the standard rooms. Okay, so let's go ahead and show the standard rooms. Boom. Standard rooms. We have the Dallas Mavericks, the OKC Thunder, the Phoenix Suns, the Orlando Magic, and the LA Clippers. Let's talk about the Clippers, okay? They've won 4 of their last 5 games, including win against the Nuggets. It's not like I trust Harden right now, but it does seem like they're gaining some of that chemistry. I've dubbed them the 2018 All-NBA team because, you know, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard were all on the All-NBA team in 2018, but are way past their prime, it seems like, through injury or whatever it might be. But they're finding a way to win games. You know, they just are. And with that much talent, if they can really dig up some of who they used to be, those players, they could be a scary offensive team. They don't play great defense, but with Zubac in the middle, they have some movement. You know, they have some movement. They've been winning games. And for that and the talent they have, the raw talent they have, I'm putting them there. You know, they've impressed me over this last week or so. So for that, they got to be there. Then you also have the Suns in the standard rooms. The Suns have fallen. They had a suite before, but they now have a standard room. They've been knocked out to make room for a certain team. The Suns have dropped 4 of their last 5 games. They're 19th in defensive rating and 27th in pace, which means that they play really slow and they don't play defense. That's not a really great combo to have. I mean, they don't play fast, they play really slow, they don't play defense. When they run into teams with high-powered offenses like the Nuggets or the Celtics or the Mavs or whoever it might be, they're not going to be able to keep up with them. And also, it feels like Beal is like a damaged asset. It feels like in that trade, maybe they didn't know something about Beal, but he's been hurt the entire year. There's no real timetable for his return. He'd be a great step up, but they need time to build chemistry. You know, I mean, with that many shooters who's going to hold onto the ball, they need time to create some chemistry. We're seeing that with the Clippers creating some chemistry with a lot of ball heavy players, I should say. And the Suns need that. And, you know, we're getting into December here. So time's ticking for them to get this chemistry in before the playoffs start. So, and then with the Mavs, they're also a team that fell from the suites again to make room because there are teams who deserve to move up to the suites. And the Mavs right now, as it stands, are going to be without Kyrie Irving for foreseeable future. He's got a right heel contusion or something. He's got a right heel contusion with no timetable for his return. So for that, Dallas has to go down. You know, they don't know when he's going to be back. Luka's amazing. Luka is a triple-double machine, but how long is he going to have to sustain that, you know? And then their defense is just so bad that as far as title hopes, right? That's the point of Hope's Hotel. Title hopes. The hopes of winning a title. Luka's amazing. For that, they were in the suites with Kyrie Irving. Without Kyrie Irving, it's not great. And they had to make way for a couple of big names entering the suites. Let's go ahead and pull up the suites as well. Boom. So we have the Nuggets, the Sixers, the Timberwolves, the Bucks, and the Indiana Pacers. Yes, you are looking at that correctly. The Indiana Pacers are in a suite. If you told me that the Indiana Pacers in the beginning of the year, after losing to the Celtics and giving up 155 points to the Celtics and losing by 40 or whatever it was in that game, I would have told you you're crazy that they'd be in a suite. But here they are. They are number one in pace. They play efficient offense. They have a great point guard who leads the league in assists and also has proven through this in-season tournament that he can make big shots. Again, Hope's Hotel is about your title hopes. And what the Pacers have proven going 6-0 and then ultimately 6-1 losing in the final, but what they've proven is that they are a team that can win in big games. They went up against the Celtics, who I think are the best team in the league, and they beat them. And it was at home in that environment. You know, Indiana's a big basketball town, big basketball city. They love basketball in Indiana. And, you know, it's Larry Bird country, baby. And so the fans know when a good team is there, right? And the fans were going nuts and the players are playing hard. We just talked about it. So I got to put them there. You know, they deserve a suite. Right now, as a Celtics fan, I don't want to go see them in the playoffs. If you had asked me 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have cared. I would have said, I don't care. Let's play the Pacers. Let's crush them. We'll sweep them 4-0. We'll get some time to rest. But how the Pacers are now, I don't want to see them in the playoffs. And neither do you. Nobody wants to see them in the playoffs. And then, like I said, we also have the Milwaukee Bucks, the Sixers, the Nuggets, and then the other new team currently in the suites is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yes, short-lived penthouse life. They were in the penthouse last time we did Hope's Hotel, and they are now finding themselves in a suite, which is still a nice place to be. They've been really great, but they've been booted for a reason. Maybe if you are kind of counting the teams and who I have in and not, you'll know who took their spot in the penthouse, and you probably know why. But, you know, look, they've won 6 straight games, the Timberwolves have. They look just as good now as they did when I put them in a penthouse. You know, but the point, again, for the third time of Hope's Hotel is title hopes. And their leader, Ant-Man, Anthony Edwards, who I love, and I think he's a superstar in this league, and he's one of the people who are the future of this league, and I think he has the dog mentality. He's a killer. But he hasn't really been there before. He hasn't done much in the playoffs. And if we're talking about title hopes, the team that took them over in the penthouse has the experience, right? They have the veterans. They have the people who've won the championships. They have a king. So let's go ahead and reveal the penthouse. I think you already know what it is. Boom. There are the penthouse suites. We have the 2 classic teams, the 2 teams who have seen each other the most in the NBA Finals and NBA history, the Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics. I would love this matchup if this was a finals matchup. Again, remember, in the penthouse, it has to be one team from the East and one team from the West. This would be an amazing finals matchup. Obviously, it's Celtics-Lakers. We haven't had one of those in, 13 years. But this team, these 2 teams are excellent. They're headed for greatness. Why the Lakers, right? They're middle to lower of the pack in a lot of the offensive, defensive net ratings. So why do they get a penthouse? They get a penthouse for 2 reasons. LeBron James, Anthony Davis. If Anthony Davis is healthy, he had 41 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists, and a plethora of blocks, especially late game, big blocks, in the final game of the in-season tournament. The Lakers went 7-0 in the in-season tournament, and what was the in-season tournament doing? It was basically injecting a competitive, high-stakes nature into the middle of the NBA season. That really shows championship mettle. Who deserves and who has what it takes, who has the gumption, who has the gonads, who has the you-know-whats to win big games. And LeBron James showed, yeah, I might be 80 years old, but I'm still the king of the NBA. I can still do what I need to do in big games. And he led this team, and I'm telling you, down the stretch in those big games, the Lakers looked like championship-level basketball. They really did. They were playing championship-level basketball, and that's what it is, right? This gave us a glimpse into what it could be like in the playoffs. Now, kind of all hinges on AD's health. If AD can't go, or if he's timid because he's got a nagging injury late in the season in the playoffs, this team could easily be out in the first round. But they've proven that LeBron James can turn that motor on when he needs to, and they've proven that they're a competitive team. Austin Reeves was out there playing tough defense. And this team is special. You know, anytime you got a LeBron James-led team and he still has the steam that he does, it's going to be hard to take them out of the penthouse. But for now, congratulations. Los Angeles Lakers won the first ever NBA Cup. Pains me to say. Hate the Lakers. Should have been Celtics-Lakers in the finals. But yeah, these two teams, this is what I see. I see these two teams at the top right now. LeBron James versus Jason Tatum finals. That would be just... that would be fun. I mean, come on. Adam Silver. I know Adam Silver and like most executives watch the Dribble. So I'm just going to make a plea to you. Rig the NBA to get the Celtics and Lakers in the finals. Please. Just do it. Just move some stuff around. And maybe it's already in the plan. I know you're watching the Dribble right now, Adam Silver. So just listen to me. Celtics Lakers finals. Give it to us. So I'm going to read off the teams that all have rooms this week. We have the Clippers, the Magic, the Suns, the Thunder, and the Mavericks in the standard rooms. And then the suites, we have the Indiana Pacers, Milwaukee Bucks, Minnesota Timberwolves, Philadelphia 76ers, and the Denver Nuggets. And then sitting atop the Hopes Hotel in the penthouse is the Celtics and the Lakers. Yeah, good week of Hopes Hotel. Exciting to see what changes. Tune in next week to see what changes. All right. So, it is time. You know what time it is. I don't even need to say it. It is time to bring in my degenerate gambling brother, Timmy KGB, a.k.a. T-bone steak extra rare with minimal hollandaise. He does have a little hollandaise. I was wrong. Minimal hollandaise on the T-bone steak. Because, you know, it's the best betting podcast segment in the entire world. You already know what it is. Say it with me. It's Major Wager. What's up, Timmy?
Lukey, baby.
How you doing, dude?
I'm good, man. I'm feeling good. Feeling real good, man. I was dead in the water. My back was against the wall. I was kicked in the dick. But I'm back, man. I feel it. I feel rejuvenated, man. I just when I thought it was all over, you know, a man by the name of LeBron James said, "Get on my back, Timmy. Let's go." So, yeah.
He did it for you. I think after they won, he said, "Timmy, this is for you."
Yeah, he mouthed that. Yeah, it was cool. Yeah.
And he winked to the camera for you. Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know the update, we had the bonus round for the in-season tournament for Major Wager, bonus of $500 for whoever won the bracket. There were a lot of points to be had in the bracket. Unfortunately, I only had 10 points total. I only had one game picked right, which was Milwaukee Bucks against the New York Knicks. And Tim had two games picked right, which was the Milwaukee Bucks over the New York Knicks and the LA Lakers over the Phoenix Suns. So Tim ultimately wins the bracket. Congratulations, Tim. And you get $500. That puts us you are at 850 now, and I am at 876.
Ooh, neck and neck, baby.
Yeah, can't get any closer.
It was a kind of gross feeling rooting for the Lakers, I'll be honest. And I have never that was the best game also of this whole thing, the Lakers Suns game. And I was I was up and and cheering for guys who historically, you know, as you know, we have not cheered for. So a little bit of a gross feeling. I had to wear my Celtics cap today to let the people know that, you know, this was a dalliance, this was a one-time thing, and I'm back to bleeding green from now on. So
good. Do not ever root for the Lakers ever again. That makes me sick. That's why I couldn't pick them. I knew they were going to do it because, I mean, LeBron, they went 7-0 in this in-season tournament, and LeBron can still turn it on. He's the king, man. He is the king. And until somebody comes by and can do what he does in big game situations, he's still the king. He's the king of the NBA.
That team looks good in general too. And AD obviously had a great final game. I mean, that was a big moment for him. And he just defensively, they suffocated that Pacers team, which, as we talked about in the preview, has, you know, whatever the best offensive rating of the past 30 years or whatever the crazy stat is. And a big part of that was AD. So yeah, the Lakers are they're looking real good. So
they are. There was a lot of excitement. I mean, the Kings were out. We both had the Kings going really far. You had them winning. I had them going all the way to the final. Or no, going all the way to the second round. But they lost. I thought they were going to pull it out. It's an interesting tournament. it's one of those things where I can kind of see why they're doing it because it brings out a championship medal in teams. Like who's really got it when it comes down to it? Are the Pacers have been scoring a lot of points? They have high pace. They have Tyrese Halliburton, probably right now the best point guard in the league, or at least the best pure point guard in the league. So what does that translate to in big games?
Yeah.
And they showed that they went 6-0, ultimately losing in the final game. But I mean, that's big. That I think it's a big test for a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think on principle, like not to like brag when we only got a couple games right, but like I think a lot of our analysis was right. We just like had the wrong team. But if you remember, we talked a lot about it's going to be a young, hungry team that scores a lot of points. And there was the Kings and the Pacers, right, in each side of the bracket, and it ended
Yeah.
up being the Pacers. But yeah, the Kings game was frustrating. I thought they were going to win, and then the Pelicans totally no showed in the second game against the Lakers. So
Yeah, it was a fun tournament.
it's cool too because anything with stakes will like shine a spotlight on players that might not have had a spotlight shown on them before, and like the guys like Cam Reddish or even Neesmith, like the guys that I think a lot of casual fans might not even really know. I mean, so it was a big tournament for the sort of backup players, support players as well, which
Yeah.
was cool.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping it was going to be the Pelicans beating the Lakers or, some small market team. It would have been cool to see the Pacers and then another team that isn't like LeBron James and AD in the final. That would have been cool. But either way, I stink at making picks, but let's continue to do it. Let's make our next week's picks. Let's make these picks right now.
I love it. Let's go.
So for people who just want to get a little catch up, like I said, we are pretty neck and neck in money right now. I have 876. Tim has 850, like we said before. And so we're going to make picks to hopefully one of us is going to pull away this week. So let's go ahead and do that. Tim, go ahead. What do you got for a pick this week?
Okay. So now that I won some money, I'm going to get right back to throwing it away. And I know I should have gone simple this week, and I guess in some ways I did, but there's a ton of games tomorrow. I mean, like I don't know exactly if every team's playing, but it certainly seems like they are. There's a ton of games. So I wanted to do a little parlay here,
Nice.
a money line parlay, and I'm throwing three teams in there.
Whoa.
Yeah. So like I said, throwing away the money just as soon as I get it. So all right, my three-team parlay for tomorrow. I'm taking the Pacers, the Thunder, and the Rockets. So the Pacers are playing the Detroit Pistons.
Right.
The Thunder are playing the Utah Jazz, and we have the Rockets playing the Spurs. So yeah, I mean this is sort of they're three heavy favorites. The Pacers are 7-point favorites over the Pistons. Let's see.
OKC is a 12-point favorite.
Yeah. OKC is 12 points over the Jazz, and the Rockets are 8-point favorites over the Spurs. The odds are even, right? So this brings it to even odds. Like I say, because they're all heavy favorites. So with the Pacers game, yeah, I mean they're coming off a disappointing loss, so you might be like, okay, a little bit of tournament hangover here. Are they gonna be sleeping on this one, dropping this one? But they're playing the Pistons, who have won two games. I mean, literally two. So yeah, I just don't see the Pistons winning this game. They are genuinely very bad.
No, they
And I think
are.
the Pacers will have some fun beating up on a bad team after, kind of getting shown up in that final game. The Thunder are playing the Jazz. Again, you said 12-point favorites. The reason why that line is so high, no Lauri Markkanen in that game. He's a big part of what makes that Jazz team go, and the Jazz haven't won, a ton of games even with him. So OKC's awesome. And I've
Yeah.
been betting on them all year, just quietly and enjoying that. So, and then the Rockets, again, it's a team. They're playing the Spurs with three wins. And they've lost like 16 in a row or whatever.
Yeah,
And
they're so bad.
yeah, I mean yeah. So again, it's sort of like three heavy favorites, three teams that like should win. So of course one of them, the Spurs are going to win their
Yeah, I
fourth
was gonna
game.
say you put it into three legs. I mean, it's gonna be the thing where two of them hit and you're feeling real good, and
I
then the
know.
third one's up by 5 with 2 minutes left in the game. I'm not gonna try to jinx you or anything, but three's tough.
Yeah, no, but I mean, again, they're like I said,
They're
these
three heavy favorites.
yeah, they're all teams that should really win and win easily. So, again, the odds are even odds. So I'm gonna put 150 on it, for 300. So yeah, see if I can make 150 bucks off this and chip away. And
Hell
yeah,
yeah. I like that. I like that pick a lot. I like the OKC pick. And I like the Rockets pick too. The Spurs just are reeling. The only thing with the Spurs, I would say, is that they're due for a win. Cause
yeah.
they just, but I mean, at that point, what does that even mean? Are they really due for one win? They only have 3 wins. You said the Pistons only have 2 wins. They're 2-20 right
That's
now.
rough. That is
It's
rough.
real rough.
I believe it's a 19 game losing streak.
These
Yeah, they're
guys,
in
the
trouble.
Pistons are historically bad. They're so bad this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
terrible. So we'll
Alrighty.
see, and hopefully it cashes.
Yeah, I like that pick. I like that pick a lot. I have a 2 leg parlay for my pick. And so I have the one is a money line, one is going to be for the spread. First one I have is Memphis Grizz money line. All
Ooh,
right. Yeah. It's at plus
interesting.
114. Kyrie Irving is out right now. He's got like some heel contusion or something like that. Something's going on, but there's no timetable for his return. So he's obviously not going to be ready for this game. But at the same time, it looks like without him, they don't have that much offense generated. Luka just had a huge triple double and a big win. But how, again, like how much can he keep that up? I know he's Luka Doncic, but after a big game like that, and then you don't have your supporting cast, you don't have your Robin, that's gonna be tough. So I got the Memphis Grizzlies winning that. Like I said, it's plus 114. So I'm liking those odds. Bane has been playing really well for the Memphis Grizzlies. They've been looking a
Yeah.
little bit more like in chemistry. It's in Memphis, it's a home game for Memphis. So I'm feeling strong about that. And then the second one, I have OKC at minus 12 to cover the spread.
Ooh.
So it's not a money line to cover the spread, and it's minus 108 odds for that. Utah has been blown out a lot lately. They just got beat 147-97 against the Mavs. I mean, what is it? That's a 50-point loss to the Mavs. And then they lost 117-103 versus the Clippers. And OKC has just been rolling. Their offense has been rolling. I think that they're going to get out and score a lot of points on them, and they're going to cover that spread. So I have them winning high. They've also had really good wins. OKC has. They've had wins over the Lakers, the Mavs, and the Warriors in the last couple of weeks. So they're playing good teams. They're playing well. And you know what I always say when it comes to OKC? I always say bet on Chet. I
Bet
always
on
say that.
Chet.
Bet on Chet. He's out there. He's going to be doing it for me, just like LeBron had your interests in mind when he was winning the in-season tournament. I'm betting on Chet. He's going to pull a win out for me, but I'm not putting a lot of money because there's a big payout. It's all about that Memphis Grizzly money line with the plus 114. I'm only doing $76, which is
No way.
yeah, $76. I have 876. I don't like the uneven number. I
I
don't
like that. Yeah.
so I wanted to get rid of it. $76 to win 309. So big payout for only $76. But I'm a little bit nervous. That 500 boost for you is huge. I I have to play it safe. I'm not going to put down a 150 or $200 bet just to lose and then all of a sudden be in the position you were last week.
Yeah, I mean, so I appreciate the obsessive compulsive nature of your bet, wanting
Yeah.
wanting a nice even number. I can't get there with the Grizzlies, obviously. I mean, like look, I mean, it's they're dogs for a reason. They should be much bigger dogs in this game, right? I mean, even at home.
Mm-hmm.
But the reason, as you said, is because obviously no Kyrie. Um, Still, what is it? 2.5 point dogs? What are they? What's the
I
line?
think right now they're 3.5.
Okay, yeah, and so yeah, I mean, certainly they 2.5. I'm
They
looking
are
at it
two
right.
and a half. Okay.
Certainly they could win, and it wouldn't like shock me. But yeah, I just have a hard time betting on that team, especially still no Marcus. Yeah, I mean, they're a mess,
They are a mess.
and we'll yeah. I mean, if you win that, that'll be impressive,
Yeah.
right? But I obviously agree with the OKC one. I mean, I could see them, blowing out the Jazz by 20 easily. So
All right, dude. Hell yeah. I love those picks. I love your picks. 3 games. I'll be watching closely. That's kind of crazy. I don't think it's a good idea. It's a good idea for me for 3 games.
I mean, yeah, it's 3 games, but they're come on, they are so obvious, and that's why it's going to lose. But they're three really really obvious money line picks.
I
But
went with stuff that's less obvious. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited for these picks. And then next week, we're going to go over these picks, see where we're laying at. And then also want to play a little game with you next week. So
ooh,
I'm super excited for that. People, stay tuned for the next episode of Major Wager. We're going to get some thoughts on the rest of the NBA from Timmy KGB, aka T-Bone Steak. extra rare and not a single drop of hollandaise.
All right, baby. Go Lakers, California love.
All right, dude. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Peace. Okay, another great slate for Major Wager. Yeah, I only bet $76. Deal with it. I'm a little bit worried that Tim got the $500 bonus, so I got to play it safe. That's it for me. Before I wrap up, though, I'm going to go ahead and give some slate of games that I think are interesting in the NBA moving forward this week, along with the Celtics' upcoming schedule. So for NBA games that stand out to me this coming week, tonight, Monday night, Minnesota at New Orleans. That's at 8 p.m. That'll be a fun game. A lot of young talent. Ant-Man versus Zion. Hopefully see some rim-rocking dunks on that game. And then on Tuesday, Lakers at Mavs. LeBron James fresh off of a win. We've got Luka Doncic fending for himself with no Irving. And then Thursday, OKC at Kings. Again, young talent. A lot of good young talent in the NBA today. So that'll be a fun one. That's at 10 p.m. And then on Thursday, Minnesota at Dallas. I'm going to say it for a third time, young talent. That's again Anthony Edwards going up against Luka, two young people who, as far as they stand right now, are the future of the NBA, or they're at least part of that group that could be. And then on Saturday, OKC at Denver. Is OKC a real deal? Denver's been slipping up and down, but this is a big match. I mean, if OKC can beat Denver at Denver, that means that they're a real solid contender in the West, so that'll be fun to watch. And then for the Celtics this week, they have 4 games this week, pretty good, but it's kind of a weird schedule because of the in-season tournament. They have Tuesday and Thursday, it's Cleveland Cavaliers at Boston, so back-to-back, Cavs at Boston, both games at 7:30, and then Friday and Sunday, Magic at Boston, both games. So it's Cavs, Celtics, Magic, Celtics. So 2 back-to-back opponents in this week, and the Sunday game is at 3 o'clock, so that should be interesting. We have a tough time with the Magic, obviously lost to them earlier, so let's get revenge on the Magic. And then Cleveland and Boston is always a good one. We went to overtime twice with them last year. So yeah, that's about everything I wanted to cover. Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed. Tune in next week to see what changes and see who wins Major Wager, plus a whole recap of those 4 games I just talked about. And yeah, this has been The Dribble.